Hi everybody, my name is Richard Knoll. I'm a beekeeper in Brittany. I've been keeping bees for nearly 14 years now, and I just wanted to talk to you about the age of the queen. If you look in the center there is the queen bee. She's marked with a green dot because that was the year last year. We have a marking system with coordinates with the colors. And she is now hardly laying at all because we're going into the winter, so she's having a bit of a pause. But on this frame we have a queen which will live for about 3 to 4 years, maybe less. In most cases it's 3 to 4 years. You also have most of these bees here are worker bees. So they're the bees that do all the work. They're all sisters, they're all female. And we also have splattered through this a few drones. Here's the drone here. I'll try and show you a drone which is the boys. Now this time of year there's not many drones around because basically they are no use to the colony. They're the ones with the big eyes. And if you can see that there, if you follow that one on the frame, it wants to go on my hand. There you go. They just flap around a lot and don't do anything, and they are the security of the colony. But this time of year, even if the queen disappeared, the drones will be of no use. And these drones are particularly good because this is a selected queen, and she's now on this side. This is a selected queen, and it's been instrumentally inseminated so that this colony will be generally well behaved. And when I make grafts from this next year, I take a larvae and put it in a queenless colony. They'll make a new queen, and all her daughters will have 50% of these genetics. So that gives you some idea. So drones live for between 6 and 8 weeks in the summer usually. Workers live anything between, probably the ones that are being made now will live right through to next spring when they hand over the baton to the new bees being made. But the other bees that are normally born from March onwards will last about 6 weeks, to give you some idea. So the life cycle of a bee is pretty short, but the ones that are made in October, September time, we call those winter bees, and they will live right through the winter. And then in the spring, they'll assist the queen in explosion of laying, and she'll lay in the spring approximately 2,000 eggs a day if the conditions are right and there's plenty of food coming in. And that's when the beekeeper's job is to hopefully stop the colony swarming and keep the bees in the box, because when you have lots of bees in the box, you have lots more honey. But we do other things with bees. We make divisions. In other words, we take a amount of bees and brood and we put that in a box somewhere else and give that a queen, and that's how we make our splits and how we make extra colonies, make nucleus colonies we call it. And we can buy queens in from faraway places. It's not ideal, but we can do that, and it's quite cheap to do that. This queen is from Romania, and as I said, she's instrumentally inseminated. So they took semen from selected drones and inseminated a queen. Now the reason why we do that is, I wouldn't say it's the best thing, but what it means is we can guarantee the lineage. So every queen and daughter I make from this one afterwards has a good chance of having really good attributes, in other words, good traits, so that it will be a good honey producer, it will be calm on the frames, has less of a tendency to swarm, it resists disease well, and it also perhaps resists other problems like robbing bees, all that kind of stuff. There's so many traits we can select for when we select honeybees. But when you have a beautiful inseminated queen like that, and you can see her wing is clipped as well, so it's unlikely she'll swarm because she can't fly. It sounds a bit cruel, but it's not. In other words, we can keep an eye on her better, and it's my job as the beekeeper to give this colony plenty of room next spring so that it'll explode, and I'll have plenty of daughters from this genetic, from this queen. So there you go. That gives you some idea of how the colony works. We have 10 of these frames in each hive. I'm going to pop this back in, and I'm going to show you the colony very quickly, but this is now set up for the winter. I want to get this back in the warm. I'll just bring you over to this hive and show you that. So this is a day-dent hive. We have 10 frames. You can see they've got plenty of stores. There's lots of honey there. Not much on the outside frame, that's still empty, but that frame is pretty full. But generally the population is really good. The colony is well provisioned, and there's new wax on these frames here, which means they've built wax. And I'm actually going to give them a little bit more feed as well, just to see them into the winter. We are late now, but it's been really warm and things are looking great. So this hive, we always work from behind because the bees can carry on flying from the front landing tray. And in a nutshell, that's how we run our colonies. There's lots of different frames people have. Some people run double broods, in other words, one box, then another on top, which is what we generally don't do in Brittany. We tend to use this day-dent frame type, and that's generally what we do. So anyway, bees are pretty short-lived, but it's our job to make sure that when they go to bed in the winter, they've got plenty of bees to see them through the winter, and the bees are clean. Because we have a problem, we have a mite that lives on the bees called Varroa destructor mite, and that mite, if it's in large numbers, will inject the bees with viruses, and it's the viruses that cause the problem. And that makes bees sick, and that in turn makes colonies swarm more and gives more problems and makes them more vulnerable to other diseases. We have two brood diseases that are generally prevalent in beekeeping. They're both foul brood diseases. We have European foul brood and American foul brood. So American foul brood is basically disastrous, and if we get that, we have to burn and destroy the colony, but we don't get it very often, extremely rare here. We do get another form of brood disease, which is European foul brood,